Finally, it has dropped. I've had this in my possession for a few weeks now, and I can tell you almost conclusively, this might be the best value budget knife that you can buy right now. It's not even close. And I'll tell you why this is probably the single best knife CJRB has ever made. Now, at first glance, this looks like a Pyrite Alt that has FRN handles. And you're like, okay, fine, whatever. No, this is actually a different knife from the original Pyrite. Now, you can buy these for around $40, so it's already a really good value. But you'll notice there's something different going on here. In fact, this is a much longer knife. This is 3.34 inches total blade length versus this one, which is like 3 1/4. An annoyingly just slightly longer blade than it would be under that 3-inch mark. It always kind of annoyed me a little bit, but with this, it's finally in the size it should have been from the very beginning. And what's crazy to me, this knife uses the exact same steel. We're still using the Sprayform 9CR, aka the AR RPM 9, is exactly the same steel, only on this knife, we have a $30 price point. Now, it's currently promotion where you get $30 if you click on the little link, and I will direct you to it. You can see this here, and this will last for a few days. But I've already talked with them at Blade Show, and this is going to be available for around that $30 price all across the internet, whether you're Blade HQ or otherwise. This is just kind of an intro, an early introduction, like the first couple knives directly from CJRB are going to be around that $30 price. But it will continue to be about that price everywhere from here on in. And what they have done, the way they have done this is basically keep their really excellent button lock mechanism, get rid of the more expensive milling and all of the other components that were required in the original Pyrite, and just give you a standard steel liner with FRN handles, still with a reversible pocket clip that is deep carry. And by the way, flush, okay? It's actually in some ways a better clip design than the original. So just to put icing on that cake, they have really, really outdone themselves. I will also tell you, I am a much bigger fan of thumb studs than I am of the cutout because I can still reverse flick it, but it just feels a little bit easier for me to deploy. And just like all of their other button locks, they use a sort of shelf design. In other words, the edges are straight up and down, meaning it is incredibly hard to disengage this lock. It doesn't really happen. I actually haven't had a single issue with a button lock from CJRB since their introduction. For whatever reason, they're the only ones using this vertical slot design in their button locks. I don't need to oversell this. Basically what you have here is a slightly longer Pyrite at a much more friendly price, even though it was already pretty friendly, a contoured, like rounded handle, so it's actually more similar to the more premium version of the Pyrite Alt, which had the rounded handles. This one is a much more expensive one from their Kickstarter campaign. And it's $30 with the same blade steel. I don't need to say anymore, okay? This is the budget knife of the year. This is it right here. This is insane. It still keeps that really slim, thin profile. It's going to be extra slicey. I hope they come out with their clip point version. This is the XL Pyrite, but I really hope they make this blade in it as well, a slightly bigger one, so we have like a mid-size between the large and the small. But even without that, this is already a home run. This is a absolute home run, slam dunk, nothing more to say here. This is the knife that you want to gift to other people. The moment they have a knife that's $30, that's this good, it will forever ruin them for budget knives. They will never be able to buy a shitty knife ever again. And I love that. I love it when you can get something that is so good and so reasonably priced that it's almost impossible to argue with the value, and that's exactly what it is. Sorry, this knife is a little dirty. I've been using it to basically for everything, cutting up steaks and everything else, just because I don't care. I'm going to use this knife. I'm going to use it a lot. It's perfect. I don't use that term often, but it's freaking perfect. It doesn't matter whether you're a left-hander or a right-hander. It's gonna work exactly the same. In fact, I kind of like it with using the pointer finger a little bit more than I do with the thumb for some reason. So, like, I'm not a left-hand, well, I mean, I guess I am kind of left-handed, but it's perfectly fine both ways with completely ambidextrous setup. This is the knife. This is it. And I have, look, I've been on a hunt to collect knives under $30. So I have a whole bunch of them in my NAFS organizer here. These are all sub $30 knives. I'm always looking for that bigger, better deal, right? I want the bigger, better deal. And because I know people are sensitive to price and they definitely want to have access to it. But compared to everything I have here, and there's some really good knives in this collection. And still, I think that the Pyrite Alt, where did you go? Of course, I'm going to cut my hand, try and find it here. I think this might be the best one of the bunch. Yes, you can get a couple of knives that are in that 14C in the $30 range, but none of them have the full package. Fully ambidextrous, button lock, extra slicey, phenomenal choke up position with that proper forward finger choil. This is the knife. This is it. This is that magic number. $30. That's the magic number. And good steel. This almost completely obsoletes entire brands that are dedicated on budget knives like Sencut. It just flat out smashes the competition. I don't know if there's anything out there right now that comes even close. That's all I'm going to say today. Thanks again for your time, and we'll talk again soon.